The only thing they jumped out on was Houston, and it makes sense because even though Golden State is up 3-1 in the series, when they're the road team, unlike yesterday where the home team's up 3-1, 2 out of the 3 games, in this matchup, historically, they don't do well. Like, they're not able to close it out. In fact, it's only happened 13 times in this first round where it's gone like this. Yep. And only 4 of the 13 times was the team in Golden State's position able to close it out in game 5. They usually had to go to a game 6. So historically, it looks good for Houston. And the wise guys bet Houston as well. The betting public's two-way on this. The only thing that sticks out is regardless of what side they bet, they're betting it with the over. And that's the only reason you're still seeing this line at about 204. Otherwise, I did see some sharp money come in under at 205, right at that opener. The first hit was under, got to a 203.5 at some places. But since then, it's been more than enough public money on the over to help balance that sharp risk because it wasn't multiple betting syndicates that got behind it. So in conclusion, sharp bettors are on Houston. Historically, it sits well. Houston wins the game more times than not, 7 out of 10 times in this spot. Also, sharps like the under opposed to the over, which is being bet on by the betting public. In the second game, Lakers, Minnesota, good two-way action there. Nothing to report from the betting syndicates and nothing even from the recreational bettors. Historically, here's what happens. Teams like Minnesota don't do well here. Lakers are usually able to push it to a 6th game, but that's why you're being asked to pay 6 points for it. I don't love it. I like the opener at 4.5. You did see some sharp money lay the 4.5. Again, history goes to the side of the favorites in tonight's games, but I think that's why you also saw the betting syndicates get out and bet these money lines. Like, they're not laying the 6. I could tell you that. I haven't even seen the 5.5s. I did see -4.5 in one of the accounts. And I did see money line bet on both in the accounts. But it seems like that the public is pushing this Lakers line up to as high as -6, and the total also betting it over. So recreational bettors like both these games over. Sharps, again, have not gotten involved on the total in the second game.
How do you know when you're a sharp bettor? Can a regular guy become a sharp bettor just by making correct bets?
Yes. Here's how you do it. It's the same way that I look for guys that win. And I work with a specialist in MMA. You have to, if you're profitable over 1,000 bets, some groups look for 2,000 bets, but I think you have statistical significance after 750 to 1,000. So after 1,000 bets, if you are profitable, you document your 1,000 bets and you're profitable, you're now a favorite of about 60%, 55 to 60% to be profitable again over your next 1,000. Like, if you've been able to do it over your first 1,000, you should be able to do it over your next 1,000. That's at least how the betting syndicates look at it. The second way, and the more obvious and quicker way, is are you getting closing line value? Meaning, regardless of results. I said it before, I'll say it again. There's a video of me getting kicked out of Mandalay Bay. I'm getting kicked out of Mandalay Bay for playing blackjack, even though I'm down lifetime there over $40,000. The reason they're kicking me out isn't because I beat them for any amount of money. It's because they know I pose a threat. And if they deal me the cards long enough, they're not going to beat me. Same thing with sports. You could be losing money to a book, but if you're beating the closing line, he knows you're a mathematical certainty to turn a profit long term, as long as you're managing risk correctly. That's how they grade you. That's how they label you. I put in 3 baseball bets. A guy gave me an account. I put in 3 baseball bets. 20 minutes later, calls back and says, bro, they shut down the account. Regardless of the outcome. The book didn't know the outcome. And in fact, I went 1-2 that night. But he saw that I laid -120, and 5 minutes later, it was -135, -140. And all 3 of those bets, he saw the exact same thing, that I beat the closing line by 5, 7, 10 minutes. He knows if this guy's doing that, he's going to beat me. I don't want to deal with that action. So grade yourself that way. Have a documentation of 1,000 bets. Be confident if you're profitable after 1,000 that you'll do it again. And more importantly, if you're getting closing line value, you know you're on your way to where there's nothing they can do about it. You make enough bets, you become the favorite. You're a mathematical certainty to be profitable as long as you manage that risk correctly. That's on you. Because again, you can have all the winning information in the world, but if you overbet your edge, you're going to lose money. I did that over and over and over again until it finally sunk in that I can't overbet my edge. Because even with winning picks, if you bet sizing correctly, you're not going to make money. So beat the close, have a long-term profitable record, and stamp yourself as a sharp, brother. You don't need me to tell you you're sharp. You do it yourself by being able to do that.
20.5 points. The Lakers are just having real problems with the physicality of these guys, and especially Randall. I've been really surprised how good he's been. 25 points, 22 points, and 27 points the last 3 games against the Lakers, shooting 46% from the field in those games, averaging 17 shot attempts and 5 3-point attempts. I think Randall has turned out to be a really big mismatch advantage for Minnesota. I would expect him to get the volume and do some work down low. He's been getting to the rim. So I do like Julius Randle over 20.5 points. But again, full disclosure, my NBA playoff picks have not been that good.
Well, you know what has been incredible is
short notice, and he's going to be plus 205 over Oleg Popov. Carl Williams is taking this on short notice. I have seen this before from Carl Williams. He stepped up to the plate on very short notice on Contender Series. He was a minus 700 underdog. His opponent was minus 700. He was like plus 400, and he won. He is a wrestler, and so is Popov, except Carl Williams I actually think is a little bit better of a wrestler than Popov. Popov goes for these single legs. He gets reversed. And Carl Williams is this collegiate style, American style wrestler. I think he's going to give Popov real problems here. His cardio is fine. He got cut from the UFC after he tried to be a striker for one fight, but he's going to get back to his wrestling roots. And you're getting plus 205. I actually thought he might open at Pick'em or even a favorite. So plus 205 over Popov, I think is a big, big mistake. So there's a nice juicy underdog for you.
Andy Lang joining us. Andy, you got a 5% parlay. What's going on with that?
Parlays have been great for us. They continue to cash, and the 5% plays continue to cash 10-2 on those. It is a UFC and live golf parlay. We hit our 5% last week on the UFC and live golf parlay, so we're going to go right back to it. They've been really, really solid for us this year. Good source of building the bankroll. But let's take a look at UFC, and let's take a look at Santiago Ponzinibbio over Daniel Rodriguez. Both guys are 38 years old. Daniel Rodriguez needed a split decision to beat Alex Morono, who is a completely shot fighter at this point. In his last fight, D-Rod looked old and slow. And Ponzinibbio has had cardio issues in the past. He hasn't looked good, and gosh darn it, he showed up to his last fight, and all of a sudden he just had a little bit more muscle. His cardio issues were completely gone. He had plenty of energy to get a knockout in the 3rd round. I'm not saying he's on the special vitamins. I'm just saying that's an odd transformation at age 38. I think Ponzinibbio is going to pull away in rounds 2 and 3. Daniel Rodriguez's cardio is just not there anymore. Ponzinibbio's was there in his last fight. And if Pons is on the special vitamins, he is going to romp over D-Rod in rounds 2 and 3 to get a 29-28 win. So that's how to pick him. I like Ponzinibbio over Rodriguez.
I want to be on special vitamin.
When a round 1 team that is a better seed is a home favorite of -2 or more off a loss, they have gone 38-29, 57% against the spread, and 52-15 straight up. By the way, in those 67 games, 64% have gone under. There's only one thing to point out when you're looking at this series. I think Golden State is up by 12 or 13 points. That's a very small margin to be up 3-1 and only have a collective score up by under 20 in those 3 wins and 1 loss. It is free throws. Houston has been horrific. 11 of 20, 55% game 1, 14 of 24, 58%, and 19 of 31. They missed 12 free throws in last game loss, where Jimmy Butler, boy, that may be the trade of the century, getting Butler to Golden State. And what he proved, even hobbled coming back with 27 points and 5 rebounds and 6 assists. But Houston has gone to the free throw line 95 times and has made 60 free throws. Golden State has gone to the free throw line 69 times. That is 28 times less. and they've only made 6 fewer. But with that said, I think Houston can bounce back here, back at home. You look what they did at home. They shot 43% and held Golden State to 39.5% in that 104 to 93 win. And excuse me, in the 109-94 win, correct. So I look at the situation. I think Houston has to shoot better free throw wise. I think you have a big bounce back after playing those 2 games at Golden State and having your fans back at home.
Yep.
I like the under, and I like Houston, but I did not get to the window laying the points with Houston. I did put them in a parlay on the money line. So Rockets for me, under as well. Home favorites of -2 or more, down 3-1. So we're in game 5 of the series, like both the Rockets and the Lakers. If the home favorite of -2 or higher, they've gone 18-4 straight up, Prez, 14-8 against the spread, and 8-13 over under, 62% to the under. Since 2009, 11-3 straight up, 10-4 against the spread, and 71% to the under. Now, I do want to mention in that system, Prez, when home team's a home favorite down 3-1, the first half average score, 52.5 to 46. They're plus 6.5 points per game in the first half. Second half, only plus 3.7 points, 47.8 to 45.1. So it does say, the system does say, first halves are slightly more advantageous in this game. If you watched the last Lakers game against Minnesota, you thought the Lakers were going to come away tied. Minnesota outscored the Lakers 32-19 in the fourth quarter to end up winning that game by 3. Anthony Edwards was amazing.
Yeah.
Fourth quarter, 16 points, 43 points on the game. But this is the biggest thing that jumped out at me. Last 2 games, Naz Reid, first guy off the bench for the T-Wolves, plus 19. His plus minus is 19. LeBron James, the last 2 games, minus 14, and Doncic, minus 19. So LBJ and Luka in Minnesota combined were minus 33 in their plus minus. That will get corrected today. The blaring thing for me, though, and why I can't bet the Lakers laying this 6, in the 4 games, they have had 13, 12, 16, and 10 turnovers. Not horrible. That's averaging about 15 turnovers, 14 turnovers per game. On defense, non-existent. They have forced 10, 11, 8, and 9. They have forced only 38 turnovers in 4 games. I don't ever remember seeing a playoff game in game 5 of a series with that few forced turnovers on defense. I watched LeBron close out too many big games when he was on the brink of elimination and play incredibly well. I do expect him to do so again. I lean Lakers on the money line, and I would look at some LeBron props. I think if anyone is going to be completely focused, it would be him in this role today.
It's definitely a deserving favorite and hasn't really done much wrong. Had a bad start in his maiden outing, and has only rattled off 4 victories since then. But he's done so with really short fields, 5-horse fields in the last 3 races. Now, like I alluded to, he's going to have to beat 19 other horses. And while I believe he's a deserving favorite, while having those shorter odds, it's not necessarily something that I'm going to hang my hat on and say, I'm going to bet this favorite. He's the best horse in the race. He still has to get a really good trip, and we'll kind of dive into that a little bit later. There's a lot of speed in this race. 19 other horses are trying to get their best trip as well. So while I'm not going to swallow that short price on top, it is someone that I'm not going to let beat me in exotic type bets.
Sean,
at least having your in the back of your mind come Friday, come Saturday, he does need a little bit of luck. He needs somebody in the main field of those 20 horses to defect out of the race and skip the Derby, whether that be from an injury or catching a fever or whatnot. So he does need somebody to scratch out of that race to get in. But, let's look back, what 5 years ago with Rich Strike needing to get in, and Rich Strike blew up the tote board at 80-1, not only getting in the race, but winning the race at those big odds. We're not going to see that kind of price on Baeza. Morning line, like you said, is 12-1. I think it's interesting that Flavian Pratt, my favorite jockey, I think he's the best jockey in the country. That's actually his top pick. He is on the number 2 Neo Equos, but if number 21 Baeza gets in, that is his top pick. And Neo Equos, the 2, is going to have to find a new jockey. So it's something that, you know, you kind of have to put in the back of your mind. If this horse gets in, don't overlook him. He ran a big race last time out. Just got kind of unlucky with only having 5 horses in the field. If one other horse enters in that Santa Anita Derby, this horse gets 50 points and he's in that main field. So definitely something that don't overlook by Derby time if this horse gets into that main field.
And you have a horse that we should
run in the Kentucky Derby since 2021 with Medina Spirit. So you're going to hear a lot about this is Bob Baffert's first Kentucky Derby since then. He's got 2 horses in the gate. He also is the leading current trainer in Kentucky Derby wins with 6. So he knows how to get his horses ready. You're going to hear a lot of kind of public people talking about, well, you know, let's not skip over the Baffert horses. But the post positions in this race and who also kind of entered this race gave Rodriguez and even the number 1 Citizen Bowl, the other Baffert, give him no favors. He doesn't want to be, you know, tucked in that close to the rail with 19 or 15 other horses, you know, bearing down on him. But there's a lot of speed in this race. And if you look at the way that Rodriguez has run in his past races, he's never passed another horse in the stretch. He needs the lead. He needs to be, you know, setting the race on his own. And if he gets caught in the lead in this race, he's going to be going way too fast, way too quickly. And that favorite that we talked about, the number 8 Journalism, drawing to his outside, should be sitting just off the pace, maybe not get first run, but, you know, we're talking about the best horse in the field, you know, kind of zeroing in on, you know, the number 4 Rodriguez. I just don't think that he can hold up or go slow enough to have enough in the tank, you know, come that last eighth of a mile at Churchill.
Sean Alvarez joining us. You can find it
on the Kentucky Derby. I really like, you know, exactas, trifectas, you know, a way to get paid a little bit more as opposed to win bets. So I do like the number 10 Grande at 20 to 1, ridden by Johnny V, trained by Todd Pletcher. The human connections are there. And this horse has gate speed. Like I alluded to, there's a lot of speed in this race. I really think that they're going to be cooking early, and that really sets up for a closer. We saw what this horse did last time out in the Wood Memorial. He chased Rodriguez, who had the race completely on his own. He was never going to get to him, but he ran a really good race to finish a game second. Now we get a little bit of an upgrade with Johnny V. And like I said, he's got tactical speed from the gate, so he doesn't need to be too far back. Johnny should get him in a really good stride, get him comfortable, and try to chase down those leaders. Like I said, hopefully they go too quick, too early. And, you know, kind of, you know, leaning onto that, the number 14, Tistastic at 20 to 1, a Steve Asmussen trained horse. If you're listening to, you know, what we, you know, the talking heads, if you will, a lot of people are talking about how poorly this horse is working. His stablemate publisher is outworking him in each and every time that they're on the track. But if you followed this horse, you know, in previous circuits, he's a really poor worker in the morning. Everybody knows that, you know, he just doesn't put out his best effort in the morning. He's a colt by a filly out of Tappet. They're generally full of themselves. You know, trying to get them to do something they don't want to do is not going to happen. So, you know, I do like the way that this horse is coming in. Ran a really good race in the Louisiana Derby last time out. Being ridden by Joel Rosario, he's got really quiet hands. He's a great finisher. And like I said, if they go too quick, too early, this is one of those horses that is going to be part of that cavalry charge, trying to chase down those tired leaders.
Sean Alvarez, anybody.